I mean, you know what I'm going to say? It's the same crap that's been going on all year long. This shouldn't surprise anyone. I'm seeing a lot of people posting on Twitter, man, the Celtics, they not know that they need to be the 5 seed to have a chance in the first round of the playoffs, or I'm done with the Celtics now. Well, have you not been paying attention at all this season? This loss isn't surprising at all. I've said this. They could lose any game to any team on any given night. That's the 2020-2021 Boston Celtics. No one should be surprised at all when they play like crap because they're not a good team. And I don't want to hear excuses about Jaylen Brown or Robert Williams tonight. I don't want to hear excuses about this season saying, well, they haven't been super healthy. No team's been healthy this season. It's been a real clusterfuck of a year. No one has been healthy. And the Celtics obviously are no exception, and they shouldn't be excused for this pathetic season and pathetic loss after pathetic loss just because they've had to deal with injuries and COVID and stuff like that. Everybody's had to deal with it. And nobody, in my mind, has had a more disappointing season than the Boston Celtics this year. They came in with high expectations, and they have not only fallen short of them, they've fallen so short of them that they may have to blow up this entire team. That's how short of their expectations that they've fallen. And, for the first time in his career, Danny Ainge is getting actually a lot of heat on him, justifiably so, because he built a shitty roster full of guys that just can't play in the NBA and don't gel well together. Brad Stevens is getting a lot of blame too because he hasn't done a good job coaching this team up. The players should be getting a lot of blame too because they have not played consistent with a consistent effort or energy or heart, and they have not found any sort of chemistry with each other. I love Jason Tatum. I hope he's with the Celtics for a long time, but he has become wildly inconsistent with his scoring. Chicago is not a good team. They're not even a good defensive team, but Thaddeus Young was able to bang him around enough to the point where Jason Tatum had a shooting night that you'd see from any 60-year-old at the YMCA chucking up threes. Jason Tatum couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And if you're a superstar, if you're a true superstar, you don't have consistent nights like this. You have consistent nights where you're able to battle through that and get to the free throw line if you're not shooting well instead. Jason Tatum took just 4 free throws tonight. We'll get into the box score in a second, but again, no one should be surprised by this loss because this team is an embarrassment. They suck. They honestly, do you really even want to see them in the playoffs? Do you want to see them get swept by Brooklyn in the first round? You know how much that's going to suck, how painful that will be to see the freaking Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving sweep your ass, or the Philadelphia Sixers, who you've beaten 2 out of the past 3 years, sweep you this year? That's going to suck. I don't want to see that. They're better off, honestly, just dropping out and waving the white flag and playing like crap in the play-in tournament and making the lottery and seeing if they can get lucky there or whatever. They have no ceiling in the playoffs. None. I've said this, and I feel like, honestly, I'm patting myself on the back here, but I do feel like I've been the only realistic person who's breaking down the Celtics saying, I've said this for months, and I know if you watch, you can back this up. Leonard, I know you've heard me say it too. The Celtics aren't getting out of the first round. I've been saying it for months, and people are just now starting to come to that conclusion. It became readily apparent, and they've had opportunities to turn this thing around. They've had games like that game in San Antonio that I said could be a flashpoint. They had games in the Western Conference where they played really well on a road trip, and they could have turned their season around, but they just revert back to this crappy, lazy team that is not well put together, not well coached, and the players don't care. So I know Gregory Castillo. I'm Nostradamus. I watch every game of this team. I watch every possession of this team. I'm not a professional coach. I'm not a professional analyst, but I know what I'm watching. My eyes aren't deceiving me. I've watched basketball for almost 30 years. I can tell when a team has it and when a team doesn't have it. And this team so clearly doesn't have it. I don't give a damn how good of scoring nights Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown will have. I don't care that Marcus Smart, we like to think of as an all-defensive player. None of the guys have lived up to where they should be this year, period. And that's why they're in the position they are right now. That's why they're below teams like the freaking New York Knicks and Atlanta Hawks. And it's just such an awful position to be in. And I see people saying, well, the Celtics and the Lakers are the same seed. Look at that. The Lakers haven't been with LeBron James and Anthony Davis for a large part of this season, okay? The Celtics missed Jason Tatum for like a week. Jaylen Brown's been in and out. It's different. The Lakers still can win a championship this year. I have them still in this as my favorite in the West. If you've been watching my other podcast with Sap, I still, even despite where they're seated now, I think the Lakers are going to come out of the West. The Celtics aren't getting out of the first round. The Celtics might not even make the freaking playoffs. They might lose in the play-in game. Honestly, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. They do not deserve to. They are a team that has lost to so many teams in the lottery, lost season series to teams in the lottery. This Bulls team isn't good, and people are saying, "Oh, I saw Brad Stevens before the game. If they've been healthy all year, this would be a really good Bulls team." Bull crap. They're not that good. Zach LaVine's a really nice scorer, plays okay defense. Larry Markkinen is not very good. Vucevic is fine, but it's not like he was doing wonders for the Magic. And you got your doors blown off by them. It's pathetic. This whole season has been pathetic. It's been an exercise of futility. They waved the white flag so long ago, and no one except for me and the people who are watching have noticed. And finally, with just about 4 games left in the season, people are starting to come around and go, "Oh, I think they might actually lose in the first round." Well, no shit. Where have you been? Why haven't you been watching? Why haven't you been paying attention? They are unwilling to turn it around. This offseason, there better be major changes, because if they run this back, the same thing is going to happen. Yeah, twice, Leonard. You're right, twice. Blown off by the effing Chicago Bulls twice. Let's go into the box score before I lose my mind even more. The Celtics, by the way, blown out. I didn't really get into. You're totally right, Leonard. Just blown out tonight. 121-99. Only put up 99 freaking points in Chicago and give up 121. Pathetic. Starters tonight were Jason Tatum, Tristan Thompson, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier. You got basically a nice game out of 2 of your starters. Tatum was terrible tonight. I mean, maybe his worst game of the season. 38 minutes and just shot 3 of 15 from the floor. Dreadful. 0 of 7 from 3. Horrible. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers, not too bad. It was a minus 22 on the night and had 9 points. I mean, 9 points for Jason Tatum. And he's going up against, it's not like he's going up against, world beaters here. He's not going up against elite defenders. He's not going up against Draymond Green or Dennis Rodman or Scottie Pippen. He's none of those guys. He's going up against, Daniel Tice and Pat Williams and Thaddeus Young. It's a really awful game from Tatum. Tristan Thompson, 27 minutes, 3 of 7 from the floor. Not great. 10 rebounds, solid there, 8 points. I mean, you can't really fault Tristan Thompson for this. He was fine. Kemba Walker was the best Celtic on the floor tonight. 35 minutes for Kemba, 10 of 21, 6 of 13 from 3, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, steal, and a block, and 33 points. Can't ask for any more than Kemba. That's way more than you would expect from him. He played excellent. Not his fault tonight. Marcus Smart, not particularly good tonight at all. 32 minutes, 2 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 turnovers, 4 points, a minus 19 on the night. And Evan Fournier, he was the other good starter, 7 of 11 in 36 minutes, 3 of 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 17 points for Fournier, who's now put together a couple good games in a row. Look like he's got over that COVID fog. But again, doesn't matter. Good game, bad game. The result's going to be the same. This team's going to lose in the first round and not make the playoffs, period. That's the truth of the situation here. And everybody, if you listen, knows how much I love Marcus Smart. I'm not sure this can continue. I know he's the heart and the soul of the team, and I love this grit and determination. But if he's the leader of this team, the true leader of this team, then he's done an awful job this year. And it may be time to reset the leadership in the locker room if that's the case. And I hate saying it because he's been one of my favorite players, but it's not working. Whatever he's doing, his style, leadership-wise, is not working. And you can't just say Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens. You have to lay blame at the feet of the players too. And Smart of your core players is the most expendable to me. So maybe they have to walk away from him this offseason. We'll see. As far as the bench, everybody played tonight except for Shemi Ojale, who had a DNP coach's decision. Hard to get one of those when you're getting blown out, but that just shows how limited Shemi is, even though he starts some games. So, go fuck yourself, Celtics fans, as far as Brad Stevens is concerned sometimes. No real highlights off the bench except for Grant Williams played okay tonight, 9 points in 12 minutes. And Aaron Nesmith was a whirling dervish all over there. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 13 minutes. Didn't really. I mean, listen, you can't. The Celtics bench isn't good. We know what it is at this point. Pritchard struggled. The starters didn't get it done, and so the bench isn't going to get it done. And really awful defensive effort, awful offensively too. You gave up quarters of 30 points, 30 points, 34 points, and 27 points to Chicago. That's nowhere near good enough defensively, and that's nowhere near where you should be against a team like Chicago, who really has two guys who can score the basketball. And then just 99 points for you. I mean, just awful all around for the Celtics. Horrible game. It's a horrible season. It's been terrible. I'm honestly looking forward to it coming to an end because that puts them one step closer to where I'm hoping they are, which is a complete reset of the front office and coaching staff and a roster shuffle, because I don't see how you're going to sell it to fans next year running anything like this back. Even if they're perfectly healthy and they don't have a single injury next year, this roster isn't good enough to be nearly competitive or really get out of the first round even if they run this thing back and are totally healthy. That's fully what I believe. They need to make some major moves. I've been saying it for months now, and it seems like other people are sort of coming to that conclusion. But I just don't understand why it took so long for people to get there. I hope that these calls for big changes are loud and prominent once the season comes to an end, which is pretty soon. And like I said, I'm almost looking forward to this. I don't want to do 4 post-game reports in the playoffs of blowout loss, blowout loss, blowout loss, blowout loss. That's unenjoyable. Listen, somehow they still have control a lot here down the stretch. Just 5 games remaining. These next 2 against Miami are obviously massive. Miami on Mother's Day at Sunday at 1:00, and then Miami again on Tuesday at 7:30. Then Cleveland, Minnesota, and New York. Those last 3 are all on the road. Again, these 2 Miami games are critically important for the Celtics, if you even want to call it that way. I mean, listen, I just don't know how you can say important at this point, because we all know, if you're being realistic, what the Celtics' fate is, which is losing in the first round. So important or not important, I guess is it more embarrassing to lose and be in the play-in tournament? And yeah, so if you want to sort of save face there, but right now, the Celtics and Miami are separated by half a game. The Celtics are 35-32. Miami's 35-31. So Miami's the 6th seed and out of the play-in thing, and Boston is 7 and in the play-in right now. 3 seed, as it currently stands, is Milwaukee. They're just half a game back of Brooklyn, though. So whether the Celtics were the 6th seed and played Milwaukee, Brooklyn, it wouldn't matter. They lose in 4 games. 5 if they got lazy for 1 game, but it's bad. It's bad all around. And I'm seeing what you're saying here, Gregory Castillo. You replaced Stevens in the offseason and gave Ainge another year or 2. I don't really trust Ainge's vision anymore, Greg. I don't think he's the guy to be able to put together a plan to put this team in contention anymore. I've seen him build a roster that is so flawed, and he's dug them into this hole, and I haven't seen any sort of backup plan or anything other than stay the course. And that's just not somebody I trust. I think he's getting a little older. He's had some medical issues. I just don't think his heart's in it anymore. And you need somebody who's hungry and is going to work the phones and have some sort of plan. And I don't see that. So I don't give Stevens any more time or Ainge any more time. I go for wholesale changes. And I'm hoping that's what happens. And, to me, that will be a happy day. And I'll do a post-game report on the Celtics changes. And I'll feel hell of a lot better doing that than doing this, which is just maddening. So, again, Celtics lose tonight. Get embarrassed. I see you there, Glenn. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for the shout-out about my Screen Rant article. Yeah, if you like Star Wars or Marvel or any cool stuff, you could check out my stuff on Screen Rant, as I just started with them. That doesn't mean I'm going to be doing any less Celtics or sports stuff. It just means that I'm going to be paid for doing something, which is nice. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Always appreciate you, and you being here cheers me up when the Celtics play like crap. I hope I can do the same for you, and that we can be realistic and reasonable about where they are, which is that they're just not a good team. So I'll be back on Mother's Day after the game. Again, a big game if you want to, consider it that. It does matter standings wise, but it doesn't change the trajectory of where they're headed this playoffs. No. So until then, I will see you. Have a nice, very nice Mother's Day, everybody. Kiss your moms. Tell them you love them and enjoy it. And I'll talk to you then. See you, everybody.